Hello and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop podcast. Hello dear reader, we hope this finds you well. We hope you've forgiven us for last week's shambolic submarine episode. Thank you for your emails and messages, dear readers. They mean a lot to us and they entertain us, and we will of course read them out on the show. You can email us at hello@billowinghilltop.com. As always, you can find us on social media at Billowing Hilltop on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram, you can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Tumblr. Ratings and reviews are always welcome. That's the formalities out of the way, so let us push on with episode 129 of the Billowing Hilltop podcast. Keep the change.
The rugged northern shore of the Lake of the Cold Sky rises from icy waters. Merchant ships once sped between busy ports along the coastline and south on the trade routes to Evenstar. Yet now the lands north of the lake are in chaos, broken into myriad squabbling kingdoms, prey to bandits, pirates, and the howling horde of the Red Hand. Here and there, the skeletons of towns and cities perch atop seaside cliffs, or fester beside dark rivers, mostly abandoned, put to fire and sword. Far to the east, however, the empty roads and rotting cities finally give way. Here stands a great settlement, perched upon a rocky outcropping. Let me welcome you to Frostanger, because nobody else will. The town sits on a natural anchorage that is free from ice much of the year. Black towers rise ominously along the walls and cliffs surrounding the town, while corrupted temples cast their shadows upon the long houses of the mighty and the hovels of the poor. It is populated by the desperate and the lawless. It is ruled by the vain and the unscrupulous. But is it also the birthplace of the Ebon Triad? And will it soon be the birthplace of the Age of Worms? All eyes turn to the north, to Frostanger, and the icebound lands beyond, as the foul influence of Chaos spreads across the world.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let's not get into a long OGL discussion, but
No.
we got our submarine combat system worked out just under the wire.
I think we should write a film based on the submarine combat system.
I think we should. yeah. Called The Hunt for Something Decent. Yeah.
I was opening a can of something and I've managed to nearly slice the top of my finger off. So I'm sitting
Bleeding.
here, bleeding
Oh.
really rather severely, but it's okay. I've got some kitchen paper up against it.
No plasters?
What were you opening a can of?
Well,
Anchovies.
Can of worms. Age of Worms.
can of worms. Yeah, I'm just wondering if we've got any plasters. This has really gone quite through the
Hold it in the
pad of the
hold
thumb.
it in the air.
But it is quite. Take the tissue away. It's quite.
Is the pain quite shrill?
No, there's no pain. Thankfully, there's no pain. That's because of the.
No, because of course you can't
I'm
feel any of your.
on endless drugs anyway. But
Sorry, readers, as you can tell, yet again, it's just. I mean, for you, this may sound like a bit of an exciting occurrence. For us,
Every
to
day.
be honest, we're surprised there's enough of Paul's hand left to actually cut.
Slicing off another bit.
no, it's quite.
Okay, well,
Active.
So there's even less of you.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Raise your
Unlike
hand.
Dan, of course. Who
Yeah,
is
no,
both
right in the air.
golden
Sorry, in the air. Right, okay.
and furry. Shall we look at a handout? Let's look at a handout because I think we need to look at a handout. That's what I think we need to do.
Oh, do we?
Yes, we do. We should look at the note of Rabadabadas.
Of the Robber-Dobber-Dob?
You know him?
No.
Oh. Okay. Rabadabadas left a note amongst all of the things that Eligos and Agath of Thrunch and Markush, all of their researches around what he'd been up to and what he had headed off north to discover. The kind of key thing that came out of that in terms of documentary evidence is basically a weird to-do list. It opens, Frostanger is the key. Missing heretics never captured. Possible site of Ebon Triad Foundation. Did they turn to the cult of the Axeman for aid, and then more recently to that of Asmodee? Are new Triad leaders trained somewhere in Frostanger and then sent out to start their own cult cells in other cities? And then he put a little to-do list. The first thing is Lashonna, who is a sort of a high prestige, high power elven wizard who is thought to be resident in Frostanger. Lashonna helped defeat the heretics, may know more about them, that wasn't printed in Rusk's book. Now, Rusk, mentioned there, was a priest of Tonge who'd written a history of Frostanger. But when the ruler of Frostanger seceded from his arrangements with Evenstar in the hinterlands and became an independent city-state within this area called Kingdom of the Red Hand, which is all of these lands north of the Lake of the Cold Sky. When he seceded from his agreements and his arrangements with Evenstar, he started persecuting leaders of certain faiths and promoting leaders of other faiths, basically promoting leaders of, you might call, slightly shadier, more evil faiths, and persecuting the leaders or the representatives of more mainstream and more good-aligned faiths, specifically Tonge or those kinds of things. Rusk was a priest of Tonge who wrote this history, but Rabadabada seems to note that he didn't flee Frostanger when Zeech cut everybody loose, and he's probably dead, but he might have left some clues behind, some kind of legacy he puts in this thing. And the third thing is Ebon Triad. Are they still active in town? Find out if their original death shrine still exists. That is the little scrap of paper that you've got with you as a kind of prompt. I just thought I would.
I've got a theory.
Yeah.
Lashonna, is that male or female?
Female.
Right, it sounds very similar to Lashonna. Do you think they're related? Just a thought.
Ross was a priest of Tonge, did you say?
Yeah, priest of Tonge, who wrote a history of Frostanger.
Okay.
Where's the temple? Where's the temple? Somewhere.
Well, we can get to that.
And I've got a feeling that Chank Thankum is something to do with Frostanger.
Yeah.
Do you think he's like the big cheese?
Chank Thankum?
Probably trained in Frostanger.
The Lord of Frostanger is Prince Zeech.
Maybe they're one and the same.
Vain and fragile-tempered individual.
Where'd he live?
Ambitious, venal, yet somehow adored by his population. That's, I think, kind of how Marcus described him. I know Paul noted some stuff about Zeech and Frostanger, didn't you, Paul?
I literally just wrote, but as you've said, Zeech stopped paying the fealty to the Conclave of the Cupula about 20 years
Conclave
ago.
of the Cupula, which is the ruling...
Does he by any
council
chance
of
live on
Evenstar.
Zeech Reach?
He lives on Zeech Reach.
In the big black
Yep.
building?
We're looking...
Is it near the beach?
Frostanger.
It's a very good
This
map.
map was...
It's a fine
Did
map.
you make this map?
Did I make this map?
It's got
No.
your names in it, hasn't it?
It has, because what you can do with the amazing Incarnate, Inc. and then ARNATE readers, which is a fantasy, whatever, map generating program. It's all online. You don't need to install anything. People create maps and then freely make them open for cloning under Creative Commons, not OGL, so far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
And what you can do is you can clone a map. I have cloned this one from a creator called Crunchy DM. Thank you, Crunchy DM. We've credited you everywhere on our Tumblr and everywhere. And I have adapted it to make the Frostanger we see before us now by just making some changes to reflect the original map that sits with the Age of Worms adventure path, which is the city's got a different name and it's got a kind of different character. And I looked at the map and I thought, why can't we do something better? And that's what we've done.
Well, it is very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so
You've surfaced
with
in the Crimson Spot Cocktail.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You've been approached by a harbour officer who sort of rushes over. It's cold. It's properly cold. If you recall when you were in Evenstar, a fair way to the south, as we got into
we're not here for golf, Mike.
the month of fart, spring was in the air. Up here, no such thing as the case. It's kind of permanently Arctic where you are now.
Okay,
Lovely.
Well, it is called Frostanger.
It's called Frostanger.
What a shoot.
In the frosty lands of the frost people. It's no surprise to anybody. You broke ice as you surfaced, and this harbour officer, this big bulky hobgoblin, swathed in furs, its breath misting in the air, is sort of running down the, what's it called? That's
Quay.
The key?
Quay, running down the quay towards you, shouting stuff along the lines of, you can't, you're sort of flaky. I was realised I was going to stand up and say, you can't surface here, you can't moor here, what on earth do you think we're doing?
why can't we more here.
Seems like
Is
we
nobody
have.
else here?
Blows a whistle, and along the rampart wall that backs the quay, some figures appear, archers appear, standing on that wall. They haven't got their bows drawn or anything, but they've just been kind of woken up by this whistle. That
What's Bondi doing?
may be about to happen. Bondi is doing kind of pre-submersing checks. She's like, I haven't got all day. You going to get off or not?
What is the mooring fee?
Yes.
You can't moor here. This is on royal docks. This is only for Prince Zeech and his cargoes and his personal carafe.
Just say that we're here.
We only want to get off here. We don't.
Standard docks. And he gestures over to your left, his right, off to the west, where there's another promontory island that has got another set of docks around it that look a little bit more down at heel. And he's kind of gesturing at them. And you've got to moor, but you can't be mooring
Well,
here.
can we just
to
get off here?
explain.
We don't have to
We
moor.
go over
Yeah,
there?
we'll get off and we'll tell Bondi to go and find a place to moor.
We'll explain that we're here on
permanently.
behalf of Marcus Doombringer, and we're
No,
here on
we-
important business.
Marcus? He doesn't seem to recognise who Marcus Doombringer is. No.
I will give him.
Well, if you're going to get off, get off. You can clamber out of the conning tower of this thing, walk along that kind of grating deck walk thing that submarines have across the top, and just hop out onto the quay.
I'm going
Should you wish
to
to.
jump out.
Yep. Jump onto the quay.
Can I refocus?
Swoop out on the swipstake.
Yeah.
Can I do a quick short rest somewhere and refocus my ring of jumping from the ring of wind dukes? Is that okay?
Let's just say you did it on the
Okay,
submarine
well,
jump.
I'll spring out the boat then.
Okay.
I shall
Okay.
walk
Yeah.
down the gangplank onto the quay,
Boing, boing, boing.
and I
Yeah.
shall hand my bag to this guy. Say, bring this, will you? And start walking up towards the land, up towards the castle.
He's standing there. He's just completely... can you give me a...
I'll flip him a gold piece.
can you give me a
I'll ping it
charisma?
over my shoulder.
Gold
Can
piece.
you give me a charisma...
It looks
We
like a
haven't
gold
got
piece
diplomacy
until you
skill.
flick it, at which point
Give me
somehow
a
it becomes copper.
persuasion check, or just a straight charisma check.
There is
There's
a
going to be an awful
there's
lot
an
of this in the
intimidation.
near future.
You
Yeah.
could try
there
intimidation.
persuasion?
There is
There's
a
persuasion.
Persuasion. I'll do persuasion. Yeah,
It's the
persuasion.
closest thing we've got.
Getting a 9.
He grabs the gold piece. He drops your bags onto the key with a thump.
Yeah.
And he goes, where's the other 499 gold pieces?
What's that for?
It's a straightforward tax to enter the city, especially in the wrong place. I think I was pretty clear. You should have been mooring over there.
We're not mooring, we're just disembarking.
Well, you've got your vehicle. Whilst we're speaking, is everybody off?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
bouncing
Okay,
what
so
did we,
quayside
what was the
stairs.
agreement
The
with
hatch
Bond?
clangs shut, and you kind of hear lots of gurgles and steam starts issuing from this.
Hang on. What was our
And-
agreement with Bondi and Marcus Doombringer? Is he going to tootle
Bye!
off now?
And it starts sinking. It just disappears out of sight.
We have a scroll.
But
You
do
know,
we?
Graham, Sessions, do you have a...
No,
No. Well, I mean, plenty of pieces of paper, but not the one you think I have.
no.
Oh, shit.
Tonight's beer, by the way, Paul, is from you. Thanks, Paul.
That's an interesting
pleasure.
name for a beer. I'm
Bandit Pale Ale, Paul. Very nice.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we basically made no arrangements
Gypsy Hill
for being
Brewery.
picked up again.
None that I recall.
I told her to go and find a more suitable mooring.
She didn't really acknowledge that remark particularly.
Okay.
She just said, are you going to be all day? I've got to get going.
Fine.
Right.
Anyway, you're on the quay. He tells you this
We're here to
official.
stay.
He's called. Of course, he doesn't know his name. His name is. I don't know his name. Sergeant Potato says. says you've got to pay me 500 gold pieces.
I'm
for
sorry.
your
I'm
entry
sorry,
tax."
my good man. I don't understand a word you're saying.
I said 500
Do you have a translator?
gold pieces for entry tax. Another detail that we didn't pick up on in our non-existent recap. As you had surfaced, you had seen something that looked like one of those corrupted angels that you
Oh, yes,
encountered
we
in the
did,
ziggurat,
Yeah.
streaking across
mention
the
something about
sky above the city.
Yeah.
No sign of that now, but just so that you know.
I'm going to
Somebody give me a perception check, very quickly.
12.
Okay. 12 is enough. 12 is plenty. 12 is plenty.
25.
Sergeant Potato is wearing a uniform. He is swathed in furs,
Yeah.
but he's wearing a uniform. Somebody give me an intelligence check. There's going to be an awful lot of this.
Intelligence.
Anybody?
Intelligence.
Someone who isn't me.
Anybody?
Oh.
Yeah, just quickly.
11.
Sessions. In the back of your mind, you know that there is a kind of civil police / customs / paramilitary force that works for Zeech called the Watchers, who are predominantly hobgoblin. Sergeant Potato must be one of them. And he's wearing a uniform underneath all the furs. You can see that he's wearing some kind of livery. And if you glance around, you can see that the archers, who are very casually watching you, in no state of kind of agitation or frostiness from the rampart above, are wearing the same uniform, but they don't seem to be hobgoblins. They seem to be predominantly female, slighter figures in lighter leather armour with longbows. Mm-hmm. That's it.
So this place
Sorry,
is
back to purple.
pretty nasty. It's just basically gently nasty because it's got Ebon
The Mos
Triad
Eisley of the Lake of the Cold Sky. Yeah,
stuff.
it's
It's got the Dark
the
Angel.
Red Hand kingdoms are a loose association of bandit kingdoms,
Yeah.
and this is a city-state that sits by itself among them. Zeech is just as nasty as all the rest of them.
And we've
So,
got to go and
my
find some
good man, could
information.
you point us towards an inn?
First of all, can we just organise the payment of the tax?
There's
we'll
no
come to that. But
mooring.
where I need somewhere to
No.
store all my.
Vehicle has disappeared.
He looks around. He can't see where his voice is coming from, and then he looks down and he sees Buggy. Oh, no! Animals are not permitted. Have you had this tripped?
Don't worry, he's perfectly house trained. Now,
We don't smell house trade.
He's been
That's an
neutered.
extra
Natural
100
visit
gold
in.
pieces.
my good
That's an
man.
extra 100 gold pieces. I'm sure you can't discuss your hospitality or your travel arrangements until you have paid your entry fee tax for 500 gold pieces.
Alexander's just going to walk off.
I just paid.
He's just going to stride off.
Yeah, I'm going to
ignoring
start
him.
walking towards the
Yeah.
shore.
Yeah, just walking
Pull
off.
my cloak
Come
about
back.
me,
Come back!
and I'll start whistling, and I'll do a mage hand to pick up my bag.
He does 3 sharp blasts on the whistle, and we should roll initiative.
Excellent.
Oh, shit. We're
Shout-
going to be fighting the whole of the city watch.
They won't pay the tax! I'm going to
How tall are the walls?
Guys,
20, 30 feet,
should we not
like that.
maybe just pay the cash at this point? I'm not entirely sure.
500
this
gold
good.
pieces.
Well, it's obviously not really 500 gold pieces.
Let me just get myself...
So this is a good way of not, don't have to read too much.
Yes.
Drive to a combat immediately.
So let's see how much of the city we can take out.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to take me alive.
Well, you should be able to take out quite a lot because presumably most of them are kind of mooks and low level.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It might be
that
quite
might-
fun to see how long we could survive in the city while being hunted by the forces of
I could do
evil.
a fog cloud and we can try and make our exit.
Well, I'm thinking we could just dimension door beyond the wall and sort of into the city.
yeah, somewhere else.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
Hang on,
thinking
do you think it's
something
one of
like
these cities, as soon as you do any magic, they'll come down on you?
that. It could, of course, be that kind of Millennium Falcon moment, isn't it? Where you go, dimension door, and it goes, woof, 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 woof,
I finished Andor.
Oh, so
Oh,
good.
so good.
Yeah, that's really good.
That SAS Rogue Heroes is pretty good. Haven't quite finished.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've
Yeah,
really
really good,
enjoyed
really
that.
Yeah.
The fog cloud sounds like quite a good idea.
Well, it might not look... I mean, it's on the coast, so it might not look too unusual, the fog. Fog cloud is 20-foot radius sphere. Every extra level, I can do it another 20-foot radius, so I could do...
But a fog cloud needs to be such that when we get out the other side of the fog cloud, that we're not visible to any of the archers.
Well, you let me know how big. I could do 60-foot radius. That's 120.
basically, you want to cover the ogre and the archers so that we can then run away without them seeing us and no other archers.
Let's just say that you're strung out along the dock like this, and he is paddling along behind you, blowing his whistle and shouting, "The rampart
As
is
soon
the
as he-
north edge of the map." The archers will put on the north edge of the map as we go,
I'll,
and then we can say that the southern edge of the map is the water.
as soon as he blows his whistle, I will stop
Yeah.
walking away, turn around, and I will walk towards him, put my arm around his shoulder, and say, "No, my good man, what is the issue here? You cannot be serious. There's a 500 gold piece toll to enter the city. What is the real price of entering
Give
the
me a
city?"
charisma
Sound like
persuasion
Terry
check.
Thomas.
Disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Oh,
Well-
blimey.
He's now currently hostile, so he's in a bad mood with you.
That's an 18,
And
and that's 24. So 18.
his attitude softens. He says,
I'll say a word in my...
everybody-
Can I talk to you alone for a second? And I'll sort of edge him down the key.
"This is very irregular.
What now?
Stab him
what-
3 times
what-
and push him into the
You
water.
must pay your entry tax. There are 5 individuals. Each individual is 100 gold pieces. It is very simple. It is Prince Zeech's legislation.
How much of this... how much of this ends up in your pocket? So Mike, I'm trying to...
Oh,
I want to talk to him alone for about a minute.
he puts a hand up to stay the archers.
Yeah. I say, now, how much of this amount would normally end up in your...
Well, I draw a salary from the Butcher's Regiment.
Oh, so you don't
This is all perfectly above board, I assure you.
sense motive, or...
My voice has become quite posh.
Make an insight check to see if he's telling the truth about the fee. No, I can't.
He seems to be telling the truth.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? So I say, well, it doesn't seem really very fair, does it, that you're doing all the work, and yet you don't seem to benefit directly.
I won't pretend it's particularly onerous. It's much better than guard duty, especially on
I'm
the
sure
walls.
it is, I'm sure it is. But you see, we are
My voice seems to have recovered.
on the buses.
Yes, Sergeant Potato.
So what would it take, do you think, to... You're looking over here, you see maybe, 2, maybe three people. There's only a handful of us. Maybe...
4 people, perhaps, and some livestock.
Exactly. Yeah, so we've got our pet. Surely that doesn't count. And then...
Well, I suppose I could maybe make a reception in his own
I mean, this other one is not really a person. He's very small. So, really, it's only... it's
Half
only
price.
probably
Some kind
only
of-
300.
I thought that was some sort of puppet.
But we are dignitaries
Yeah.
from
price.
Evenstar. We are here as representatives to entreat with Prince
Oh.
Siege. Surely you're not going to
Oh, yeah.
charge emissaries an entry
Give me a bluff check or something.
deception check. 11 on my deception.
Okay, he doesn't go with that. Your sense is that he's quite impressed by your manner of arrival.
Yeah.
Do you remember authority points? Does anybody remember us
2.
talking
Yeah.
about this last time?
Yes.
2.
Got 2 each. Okay. Those were a product of your fancy arrival, and that's probably keeping him on side.
Mhm.
You're clearly of some sort of status, otherwise you wouldn't have turned up in such a fancy vehicle. But you are rather taking the piss in terms of the way that you're acting.
Have you still got that figurine of wondrous power that turns into a demon? You could give that as a gift.
Yes. I wish I did.
Yeah.
So basically, Mike, have I been speaking to him for a minute?
I understand what you're trying to do here. Yes, of course. This is your funny spell.
Words of
thing.
terror. Can I have a wisdom saving throw DC 15?
He makes that save.
For God's
Blue
sake.
dice of saves. Rolls a 15. Okay. There we go.
Well, he's still not aware that I was trying to use that power on him.
Fine. Let us proceed with the business.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I must blow my whistle and there will be a contretemps.
Mhm.
I understand.
Alessandra
Let
will.
me, so I'll summon. Has anyone got? Who's got good wisdom? Sessions, probably. I'll say Sessions.
I do.
Would you,
Mhm.
you've got a good wisdom.
Yeah.
Probably. Yes. Yes. I have a very good wisdom.
Yeah,
right?
wisdom. Yeah, you've got +5, haven't you? So Sessions.
Yeah.
Odd conversation to be
yeah.
having in front of him, but okay, yep.
I'm kind of beckoning Sessions over. I said,
Okay.
I'm terribly sorry, my good man. I didn't get your name, Captain. What's your first name? I mean, Captain Potato, is it? Sergeant Potato.
Sergeant Potato.
Sergeant Potato.
You have the authority of a captain, certainly.
I wish.
I say,
No,
what is your first
Sergeant
name? I didn't
Potato.
catch your first name.
Reginald Potato.
How did you know that?
I've got good wisdom.
Amazing.
So I'll say Sessions. My friend Derek here would like to charge us an entry fee, and I was trying.
Derek?
Sorry.
Reginald.
Reginald.
Yeah, Derek. I'm terribly sorry.
Okay.
Do you think you could have a word with him? Maybe sort this out? Basically, I want him to find out whether this entry fee is real. Or
Oh,
whether he's trying
insight.
Yeah.
Some sort. I would definitely want to understand 18
You think that there is a fee,
But
and
it's
a
not
tax
100.
can be levied on new arrivals into the city, either at the gates or at the harbour. As you look around you, you can actually see a tariff board. But what is clear is that he's over-egging it.
Yeah. So what's the tariff look like it should be?
100 for all of you should, in
And
theory, be the
we're
fee.
supposed to pay it where?
To him, directly. Pay your harbour officer.
Harbour officer. And he's the harbour officer.
So 20 GP each.
100 in total.
Wait till you see the price of a pint of beer.
I don't mind paying
All right.
20 GP.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I'll delve into my bag of colding.
I will
Gun.
dig
You're
out.
folding.
I will dig out 120 gold pieces, and I'll say, keep the change.
Yeah.
Give me a charisma persuasion check.
That's
20.
lovely.
TE4.
He sighs and he goes, "Oh, all right, yes, okay, fine, I suppose that's acceptable. But you've got to follow me." And he starts striding off.
I gave him a 20 gold piece bonus, and he's grumbling about it.
I can't be held responsible for how these people act.
Okay, fair enough.
Jesus. He encourages you off the wharf, up the stairs, up into the main island. This island, the Royal Island, is the posh bit of Frostanger.
Mhm.
There's a main road that runs all the way through Frostanger, south, west to northeast, called the Toil Way.
Mm-hmm.
The main cemetery of Frostanger is on this island, sitting behind the temple of the Great Woodsman, the Feller of Souls, the Mad Axeman, the Silence in the Forest.
Is that on Axeman
That's on-
Cometh?
The Axeman Cometh
Yeah.
is the name of the road that runs in front of that. There's Zeech Reach that runs in front of Zeech's Royal Palace. Huge, great structure with extensive gardens inside a gatehouse and kind of portcullis and all of that. It's quite vertiginous. So that the docks are at lake level. You climb up quite a way. Zeech's Palace kind of overlooks the whole city. When I say city, it's not even half the size of Evenstar. 7,000, 8,000 people perhaps.
As I was saying to him, I want to know where there's an inn, and I also want to know where the Temple of Tonge might be.
Temple of Tonge. Temple of Tonge. I don't think you want to go there.
Why not?
That's it's an old bed. It's fallen on hard times. The church is a great art. It's a ruin, no more than a ruin nowadays, really.
Where is it?
I can certainly point you in the right direction. He points, gestures vaguely to the northeast. He says, "It's on the north way, near the northern gate. That's a good place to start. Ask around there.
Okay.
It's on the way of the Queen Marshal, up where all the temples are. There's a decent inn up in that direction, Prince Roth, called the Ogre's Hideout. Very popular with adventurers. It depends. You look very like... I mean, what do you look like? Describe yourselves.
I'm wearing traveller's clothes.
You don't look fancy, right?
I don't look especially
No.
fancy.
You look like explorers and adventurers. You don't look like posh people.
Well, I've got 2 swords and a crossbow and a backpack.
But you don't look like noblemen, for example.
Well, I've got a nice, glowing plate.
And I'm
nice
guessing we also
boots.
look a bit like we've arrived from the Bahamas. Don't we?
That- I mean, you're not appropriately
We should
dressed.
go and buy a big fat coat.
Yeah.
Well, you could
Some
think
furs.
about that.
Yeah. Some furs.
If you want to stay in the real top of the shop, then there is a place called the Deluxury. That's right here. And he points out at where you are at the top of the steps. There is this very imposing, very posh-looking hotel / entertainment tavern complex called the Deluxury.
The deluxe. What's it cost to stay there?
Fair amount.
How much is...
What's the fair?
Well, we'll get to that. And then there's another place that he says, if you'd come in through on the other docks, he points to a place called the Angry Rifter, which is right near the docks on the other island, on Market
Oh,
Island.
yeah.
Those are 3 inns that he gives you an option of. He says, there are others, but those, I would say, looking at you, the Ogre's Hideout, or maybe the Angry Rifter, unless you're flush for cash, which you don't seem to be. In which case, the Deluxury, I mean, that is the top of the shop.
Flush with cash. I
That's
just
what I
gave
would
him
say.
120 gold pieces.
Yeah, well,
That's quite a lot of cash.
What's it cost to stay?
somewhere between 100 and 1,000 a night at the Deluxury, sir.
Right, I don't think we'll be staying there.
Buggy's paying.
I'm going to the ogre's
I
hide.
do seem to have
Anybody
quite a
coming?
lot of cash.
How much cash have you got?
4,300.
Yeah, got quite a bit.
Oh, that's enough for almost a week.
Well, it's 100 a night. That's basically
100 to 1,000, depending upon the room. That
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we put
if you can get in,
I've only
which
got 255.
by
gold
the
pieces.
state of you suspect might be difficult.
I thought everyone was supposed to be carrying their own 500 gold piece diamond now.
Where's that from?
That's the cost of raising you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like your
Have I been given the right amount of money? I mean, I
it's like your dog tags.
255 GPs. Not
Is that what you
The good
We're
news.
distributing the gold adequately.
I think we have.
There's not been much gold. I think it's whether or not you've been selling
Yes,
magical
we've
items.
sold
and
stuff.
cash.
Yes.
Oh shit! I need how much, Graham? Do I need for the insurance?
For the cheap version of the insurance, the Revivify version, I think, is only 300 gold pieces. Let me check my price.
There you are.
Have you
You think
included
it's
a markup?
probably
or
you get the sense from Sergeant Potato that the rates at the Ogre's Hideout and the Angry Rifter are probably a little bit more approachable.
Let's go to the ogre's hideout. see what's
300
gonna
gold
happen.
pieces worth of diamonds for the Revivify. I do everything at cost for you, Uncle Buggy.
something? Oh, thanks. That's most kind.
Okay, the Ogre's Hideout. So you can walk your way through. First of all, can somebody give me a perception check as you walk away from the Deluxury and out onto the Toilway, the main road? That will take you over
19.
the Woe Bridge into the Lighthouse Quarter.
27.
You're not 100% certain, Alessandra,
Mm-hmm.
but as you're walking away from the Deluxury, you do that thing where you're looking at the building thinking, God, it would have been nice to stay there. Sort of slightly walking backwards, sort of taking it all in, saw a face at one of the windows upstairs that you recognised. Or you
Okay.
think you recognised. You think it was Okorau, Loris Rachnian's head of security. Just briefly, just for a second.
And that was in the Deluxury, was it?
Yeah, you couldn't be certain.
Oh, maybe we should stay at the Deluxury.
Alessandra's going to peel away from the group a little bit. She's going to just gently start hugging the walls a little bit, hiding in shadows. She's going to just peel away from the group so she's can follow them or be near them but at a distance. And
You're sort of
We
keeping
can
a
always
little
come back to the
watching
Deluxury.
brief on the others.
yeah,
I think we want to go and get some.
Now you've got past
Some
Sergeant
more expensive
Potato, the
looking clothing.
watchers in this part of town are very smartly turned out. You definitely get the feeling that you're walking through a super high status neighbourhood.
Okay.
But once you're over the Woe Bridge and into the Lighthouse Quarter, out onto Dalloway, which leads to the lighthouse, you turn left into the way of the Queen Marshal, and the Ogre's Hideout is a much more approachable building that's sitting nestling up on the inside of the northern wall of the city. See it?
Mm-hmm.
got it. Yeah.
Let's have a look at their prices. Let's have a look at their prices.
By the way, Mike, what's the date today?
It is, I think it's Sunday the 12th of Fart,
Ah, okay.
at around 11's.
Right. So I was looking at
What I've
my
got written on my notebook.
notes. On the 20th of Fart
notes.
is the next conjunction.
Yes.
Marks.
Oh
Yes.
shit!
We've got 8 days before we get another chance to ask
Yeah.
some questions.
So is there another time element thing that we've got to watch out for?
Not really. Time marches very slowly in our world. I was looking at when I found that out, and it was like in August.
Does anyone actually understand the what? The calendar.
Yeah, well, every 3 months there's a sort of, as Mike so nicely called it, an interstitial period of 3 days.
Yes.
So there's fumblery, and then there's misrule was the little interstitial, and then there's fart, and then there's apeshit. Is there
Yes,
another
that's
month
right.
after apeshit? Or then there's sauce, according to my notes, which I wrote down, which Mike told me.
Ape shit, then mage. Every 2 months there's an interstitial.
every 2 months.
So-
that's
so
right,
there's-
yeah. So it's apeshit,
Yeah,
mage.
so-
no,
Yeah, every
fart,
28
apeshit,
days.
then
Sorry, every
sauce, then
every
mage.
56 days.
We don't have to do
Ape shit,
anything.
then mage.
No,
Right.
but on
Then
the
dual, then
in
dual
8
life,
days,
then awful.
the orrery will show a
8 days,
conjunction.
there's
of
another
Marks
grand
and
conjunction. That's right.
and then
Yeah.
we're assuming that at that point the orrery will do its weird thing and will be granted some questions.
Yeah.
I was thinking we were nearer
So
that.
theory on the 20th of Fart.
Yes. But 8 days away is still a long time.
It's an eternity.
Yes.
Age of Worms time.
Yeah.
But we'll see how the calendar works out in this section of the adventure, shall we? Because it might be that the days move a little more
Possibly,
quickly
yes.
as you engage with the different kinds of challenges and encounters and stuff. Right. It's about 4 gold pieces a night to stay at the ogre's hideout. So it's by no means cheap by standard terms, but by Frostanger terms, compared to the deluxury, that is super reasonable.
Right. So this is Norway.
An evening meal will set you back about... It is not precisely... Lucas, you've got the gag. An evening meal
Old
will cost
Switzerland.
you
Yeah.
a couple of gold pieces as well. So room and board is 5 gold pieces. There's a slight discount if you go all in.
All in.
Is the quality
Yeah, a full board. Well,
recompense
it's
with the
describe it
amount
to you.
of money we're spending, or is it just that it's like expensive and still crap?
It caters mostly to visiting bandits, pirates, and adventurers. It has a rough and dangerous feel.
For 4 gold
It
pieces.
sports a well-stocked but largely unimaginative tap room and bar on the first floor. That is the ground floor because we're talking in American. Yeah. And then there are rooms upstairs. As you walk through town, things do seem quite festive. The banner of Banshivu seems to be the sort of official state religion here, are flying from all the public buildings and from some private buildings. And it does seem like some kind of celebration or party is, if not underway, then being prepared for or being... It's clearing its throat, even if it hasn't started singing, put it that way.
Right.
And certainly, some people who've already started are the patrons of the Ogre's Hideout, who are off to the races. Early lunch is being served, the giant things roasting on spits, ale is being handed out, and the music has started. You get the general idea.
So does it fall silent when we go in through the main door?
Yeah, and there's a piano playing, and the doors are like those ones that are just...
Saloon doors.
And as they open, and you're
Hey, the
silhouetted
name
against the light
Bugraft.
from the street, the piano just stops.
Give me some ale.
Ding, 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 ding.
Give me some ale.
They slide a tankard of ale all the way down the bar, but you can't see that because you're only...
I down it
You
in
just
one
hear
go.
a sort of...
Give a loud burp.
Say another.
The innkeeper is a jumpy man named Frill Beskard.
Thrill.
Frill Beskard, yeah. It looks like he's picked the wrong job, right? He's got this tavern full of odd types, like I said, adventurers and pirates and people, including you lot. But he's constantly jumping at the noises. When people shout at him for another drink, he's like, oh, and he's going to get flustered. He's got a couple of staff trying to help him out. He can give you rooms. We have some space, says Frill Beskard. The whole of the top floor is taken by Bacrus and all of his people. At which point he kind of rolls his eyes like whoever Bacrus is, he clearly wishes Bacrus wasn't there. But you
Have
can
we
have
heard
some
of
rooms
Bacrus?
on You've never heard of Bacrus.
Is Bacroth in the
Not even with my bardic
main
knowledge.
room?
Bacrus has taken all of the rooms on the...
But is he in the... Can we see him?
No. I think he's out and about. He seems to spend all his day out and about.
Okay.
Does Bacrus and Vajus, his companion, and all of his men, hobgoblins, all of his hobs.
Take the bus.
They're all out. Anyway, they're always out. But they've taken
Make
up
a
the whole
fuss.
of the top floor, so I've got no space. And they don't have to make a noise in the evenings when they get back in. Anyway, I suppose I shouldn't complain. Oh my God, what was that? Anyway, I shouldn't complain. But we've got some rooms below. There may be a little sound.
Below?
Sound above. He looks around, like, where did that come from? And then he kind of
Down
looks
here.
over the bar. Oh, what's that?
That's our pet.
Oh, I thought I detected a very acrid smell.
Give me another beer.
So do you have any fine rooms other than those on the top floor?
Oh, our rooms are all fine, sir.
Premium.
A premium. 5 gold pieces, including full board.
Yeah.
Per person, of course.
Yes.
He looks at you, kind of takes you in. Is Alessandra hanging back and watching
Yes.
from a distance?
She's-
Okay.
Very, very, very much so.
He's just checking out the four of you. Looks at you.
Very odd looking bunch.
We've got Sessions floating there on a broom, and we've got Parker in his enormous bulk, and then wee little Buggy with his like a bearded loincloth little miscreant. He says, travellers of your type, if you don't mind me saying so, do often like to room together for some reason. Is that what you would like, or would you like separate chambers?
Yeah, well, what's the difference in price?
I'm afraid it doesn't affect the price, sir. But we do have a series of suites that are specifically designed to be shared with vantage points,
Yes.
areas where people can rest,
Sounds perfect.
watch the door all the time.
Yeah, we'll have those.
One of those. We'll have a
We'll take those.
Yeah, heavily defensible. I won't pretend to understand all of the ins and outs of it, but they are very
A
popular.
man after our own heart.
Literally.
You can have the Barbican suite then. Yes, that's fine. He hands over a key on an absolutely enormous key ring. The key is tiny, and then there's this giant block of wood attached to it.
Carved in the shape
One
of a
these people
snowflake.
he calls over a flunky. Jane, airport here. We'll show you to your rooms. Jane. It's not going very well. Jane, you can take their bags up to Barbican. Would you mind? Would you like to sit down and maybe take a refreshment?
Yes.
A third refreshment in your case. The creature there.
Yes.
Right, you're in the bar. What do you want to do now? You've got your scrap of paper. I don't know if you want to check in with me on any of the things that you talked about with Marcus and co last time. I don't know that you're really missing anything. Rabadabadas seemed to think the Ebon Triad's origin was in Frostanger, and Rabadabadas had made a note that Lashonna was obviously somebody of interest because she had been involved in suppressing the Ebon Triad, maybe an ally, maybe somebody who knows more about it. And then you've got this idea of Ruosk, the priest. Maybe there's some trace that he left behind. And then the Ebon Triad themselves. Is there any way of trying to find out a little bit more about them? And then there's just, taverns with people to talk to,
Well, I'll go out and talk to, I don't know, they're all drunk, are they?
Well, no, they're not yet.
Is there an old
You know,
guy
you've got-
sitting in the corner,
What's the
puffing on a
celebration
pipe?
that's happening, Mike? Let's go and...
Well, if you're chatting to some of the patrons,
Yes, of course.
in just over a week's time, Prince Zeech is celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence of Frostanger, Frexit, where he seceded from all of the influence of Evenstar and all of that and declared Frostanger an independent city-state. And there is going to be a big banquet and celebration. That's not something that you need to make a roll for or make any checks for. If you just talk to people about
Yeah.
what's all the hoopla about, they just tell you straight away. And he says the whole town will be celebrating. They're just building up to it now. Whoever this person is, random person.
So, Lashonna,
Oh yes.
does that name ring a bell?
Well, she's oh yeah. I mean, she's a very influential person.
Is she?
There are rumours. There are rumours about her and Zeech, of course.
Oh, are there?
Yes, tongues wag. I don't know.
Does she live on the island? Does she live on Zeech Reach?
She does. She lives in Mistwell Manor, very well-appointed place up on the Royal Island. Yes, she does. Yeah. Good luck trying to go and see her there, though. I mean, it's a very well-protected area. She's a very prestigious individual.
Is she?
Yes, I mean, fed up. All sorts of rumours in this town about all sorts of things.
And the Temple of Tonge.
The Temple of Tonge.
Yeah, where would that be?
Generic bar person says,
My good man.
it's not far from here. It's just round the corner, but it's a ruin.
Right.
I'd keep your voice down about Tonge a little bit around here.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Not
I mean, I'm
frowned upon, is he?
He? Tonge has no gender. Tonge is the eye of wisdom. I am no follower of any of these deities. And Shivu is my queen.
Banshivu? Why do you worship Banshivu?
Oh, well, she's the Queen Marshal. She's the Queen Marshal of the Howling Hall.
Yeah.
And Zeech champions her, and well, he should. I would be very careful about. He kind of lowers his voice again. Very careful about getting into discussions about religion in Frostanger, if I were you.
Okay.
All sorts of rumours about all sorts of things are running around the town at the moment.
Like what?
Roll a d8.
5.
He looks around. I mean, it's not really for me to say, is it? But the talk of the town at the moment is that the blessed angels. You've Are you outsiders?
Yeah, we know the Blessed Angel.
Have you heard of something called the Sin Chaser Report?
No?
Well, the best thing to do is, if you're offered a copy, I would say no. It can get you in a bit of trouble. It's full of sedition. It's full of uncomfortable ideas. I certainly would never read it or look at it. Anyway, apparently, a whole crate full of the latest copy was seized by the Blessed Angels. The bookseller who had it, as it were, under the counter, disappeared. He's heard from him since. Off into the Blessed Angels' eyrie out on that scary island of theirs, I dare say. Well, good riddance to him.
Right. And that's the one, that's the sort of the army one, is it? The one with the wharf, that island.
Putting two and two together, Burple. Yeah. No, there we are.
Right.
He says, looking like somebody where you've already rolled a D8.
Yeah. Well, nice. Well, thanks for that. Any other rumours?
Not from me.
Okay. But if I were to go and ask someone else, or one of my colleagues...
talk to some old guy in the corner.
That was my old guy in the corner. That's my old guy in the corner voice. There's many people. There are other adventurers. There's merchants.
What about the dwarf who looks French?
The dwarf with a wooden leg.
There is a dwarf with a wooden leg. Looks like some kind of pirate dwarf. A pirate dwarf.
That's what we need.
Has he got a stuffed parrot on his shoulder?
Brother.
The dwarf says.
What room is it?
Rumours, you say? Oh, rumours there be. Oh, certainly. Roll a D8, please.
Okay, roll a D8.
Why are you taking the percent?
6.
6, you say?
6 it be.
Have you heard tell of something called the Ebon Triad?
Ebon Triad, you say?
Yes. No? Not familiar with that term?
Yes, I heard of them.
Well, I heard tell.
Yes?
Although they're not around so much anymore because Prince Zeech has rooted them out, those heretics. But I heard tell they had a dragon working for them. But that dragon flew south and was slain by a group of heroes on the far side of the lake. That's what I heard.
That's what you heard. They must have been mighty powerful. Okay. Oh,
What
can I
about
go
the-
finding a different rumour?
What about the farmer-looking guy?
Yeah.
Who looks like he may come from the
West Country. The West Country. Rumour 1.
I've just done the pirate.
I am
How am I going to do that?
West Country Farmer, Rumour 1.
Oh, hello there. I be a farmer. That is right. I am from the northern fields.
Get off my land.
Get off my land, he says.
Does he have any rumours?
Number 1. I rolled number 1.
Oh, there is a rumour going on.
That's a pirate, isn't it?
No, it's totally different voice. There is a
brother.
square pitched, and it's a bit more like that. There is a rumour going around that Prince Zeech, he didn't invite that high priest of Bansheevu to his banquet. You know about the banquet you see that people have been talking about? Because he's looking to replace the old hag. That's what I hear. I wonder who he's got in mind to take her place. Maybe somebody he has invited to the banquet, I dare say.
Ooh, who might that be?
Anyway, I've got
How
to
do we get
go
invited to the
and take
banquet?
my cows to the northern...
How do we get invited to the banquet?
You're asking the wrong bumpkiny person.
Who might know?
You're going to ask around?
We should have stayed in the
I'll
deluxe
ask
area if we
about-
wanted to get invited to the banquet, I'm assuming.
Parker, that's basically the gist of it. If you ask around about the party and how one might get invited, the general response that you get
If
is
you need to ask, you're not getting invited.
a little bit of that, but also you're asking the wrong people.
Yeah.
People who drink in a tavern like the Ogre's Hideout don't get invited to Prince
Is there a posh
Zeech's
clothes shop
banquet.
around here? We can buy furs and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find you
Maybe a
something.
barber?
Yes.
Somewhere I can wash my hair. I mean, it hasn't been washed for...
About 16 years.
Yeah.
Yes, you could be scrubbed up. That's a
Yeah, is there a
the gold
bathhouse?
Pieces.
About this time of the year, right time of the year.
We could put one of us up in the deluxury and have some kind of farcical thing where we're all going in and out, pretending to all be guests.
Well, you could have two hobbits in a trench coat.
Yeah.
I want to go and talk to that guy
Sessions
who
and
looks
buggy.
like Terry Thomas.
And
say?
Oh, we're pushing that a little.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Doesn't shout. I say.
My voice is going. Yeah, you can go and look for some fancy threads. You could go and ask around town about the party, maybe somewhere else. What do you want to do?
Where would we go to get a nice, warm outdoor coat?
Yeah.
Ask the barber.
He uses his still.
A shop? A tailor? A furrier?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? Or am I making that up?
I
I'm
think
trying to see if there's a shop.
Just need to head over to the posh island, don't we? There must be.
we should go and investigate the ruins of the Temple of Tonge, first of all.
Yeah, but let's get a warm coat first.
Yeah.
There are higher-end boutiques on the Royal Island in the scattering of buildings between the Deluxury and the bridge.
I think that while we're here, we should check out the Temple of Tonge. I think we may struggle to find something without some kind of external guidance. So if there's still a priest around or something. But otherwise, I think that we want to try and make contact with Lashonna, who I think can get us an invite to the party.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
While we're there, we can buy some nice clothes.
Yeah.
So why don't we check
So
out?
what do we-
why don't we check out the Temple of Tonge for now?
Yeah. And then go over.
But it's
and,
only
yeah.
Round
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah.
it's only a block away.
Is it this thing here?
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
You leave the ogre's hideout out onto the way of the Queen Marshal, take a right, heading towards the northern part of town and the gate. Up a set of steps onto another terrace, a kind of cliffed terrace. Like I said, this whole town is a series of terraces that rise up from the water. And on your right, almost immediately, there is a building. People don't really pay it any mind. Sagging, blackened walls bear signs that read, "Condemned by the order of the ineffable wisdom of Almighty Prince Zeech. Entry prohibited."
Is there enough left to get an idea of the layout?
There is a bored-looking functionary, a hobgoblin. It's like a watchman sitting at one corner of the street, watching nothing. I mean, sort of half snoozing.
Right.
So it looks like there's somebody to sort of enforce this directive.
What a boring job.
Someone got a charm spell or something? Dan, Bard? And you sing him a song?
The main thoroughfare is busy, but the little streets that run around the back of it and the alleys and stuff are dead.
I've got invisibility.
Okay.
Could go around the back and try
Sure.
searching the place.
You could work your way round to the back and see if you can find a way in, which you can.
Okay, we'll do that.
It's a bit of a mess inside.
Is it? Oh, I was expecting
Blackened.
it to be pristine.
It's not really been robbed out. There's blackened beams, blackened pews. Some of the regalia is still there. Some of the wall paintings, the solar system is laid out the traditional Tonge way around the kind of main circular cupola of the building.
We're mainly looking for somewhere where Rorsk may have hidden, probably either in the ground or around the altar.
Yeah, give me some perception checks and some investigation checks.
Perception, I get 21. Investigation, 15.
Okay.
9.
You can see that there's like a steep little set of stone steps that lead down that look like they were totally obscured by rubble at one point. And it looks like that rubble has been partially cleared, just enough maybe for somebody to squeeze through, and just enough for you to be able to see, Burple, that the base of those steps, in the shadows, in the darkness, there may be a little door.
Oh, well, I'll head down there. Anyone with
Okay,
me?
give me a survival check.
It's not my strongest suit. 7.
Difficult to tell anything else. You can't sort of make out any signs of or any information about whether or not anybody's passed this way before or anything like that.
Okay. But there's a door at the bottom.
It's a very heavy stone door, but it's not locked. It kind of grinds open
Yeah.
into a very small landing and then a very tight, steep set of spiral stairs leading down into the darkness. And you can smell, well, it smells musty, but it also smells of decay. A slightly sort of sweet, sickly, decaying smell.
Okay. Anyone coming with me?
Yeah, I'll come with you.
I'll kind of
Job
follow
me.
along.
How are you seeing? You've got your dark vision.
Eyes.
You've got your eyes. Yeah. What about...
I'll activate my
Alessandra.
Are we going to have
flame
a map of what's inside?
No, you're not going to have a map. Down the stairs.
Theatre of the mind.
Theatre of the mind.
Okay.
Are you invisible at the moment, Dan?
No.
Okay.
I've got my flaming
Holding
sword
that in
40
reserve.
foot
There is
light.
a small and... What's the word?
Furry.
No.
Oblong, smelly, spiky.
No.
Square.
French.
claustrophobic crypt directly below the sort of the center of the church, the cupola of the church, to the extent that it remains. It's about the same size as the main floor. You're walking into this crypt at one side of it. The ceiling sags ominously, but you get the sense that it's basically sound, that if it was going to collapse, it would have collapsed a long time ago.
Okay.
There are bones scattered in tangled heaps all over the floor. There were clearly tombs down here that surrounded the chamber in the walls. They've been violated.
Right.
The brick-lined crypt walls have been torn down, and narrow claustrophobic tunnels have been dug through the stony earth. Give me an Arcana check.
Not my strong point.
Just see how you do.
12.
Burple?
19.
There you are.
19. Burple? 5. You think these tunnels have been created by magic. You think they've been created by something like stone shape rather than dug.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you're looking at a network of cramped crawlways. You can smell more decay, and you can smell sewage, and you can just make out the very faintest sound of what must be running water or sewers or something. As you stand there and you regard this, leaping up from behind one of these piles of bones and squatting on top of it is an awful, grey, twisted, cadaverous figure. Sharp, extended fingernails, horrible, sharp teeth. It looks at you, opens its mouth, and it howls at you. And we will find out
They always howl at us.
Another bloody hinge head, isn't it?
if it's another one of those horrible howly things, or whether or not you're all in terrible trouble when we pick things up next week.
Interesting.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Prince of Red Hand and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Prince of Red Hand was written by Richard Pett. Music is from Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Alex.
And my name is Diana.
And we are 2/5 of Critically Stupid, a comedy Dungeons & Dragons podcast with new episodes every Friday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If I had to pick, I'd probably say my favorite NPC in the show is Sean the gorilla, who I decided in the moment wears pants, a waistcoat, and spectacles. Diana, who's your favorite NPC in the show?
My favorite character is Captain Davil Starsong, because in my head, y'all, he's fine AF and makes me feel a certain way.
If you'd like to experience Diana red-faced and sweaty in real time, catch us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you enjoy that sweet, sweet content. You can catch updates on our Twitter @CritStupid.
Come watch me glisten.
I love that this is going to be audio only. So, listener, you're going to have to take my word on it. She's real good looking.